Well, I told our listeners on Monday when we had our supplemental draft live stream, I said, I don't think you've heard The Last of Us this week. Max and I have been getting up early every day this week, ready for this. We have the XFL schedule here, Max, making his long-awaited, debut here on the show. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. Listen, when I sent in that voicemail last week and I was like, the XFL is back and this time you can feel it's real, I didn't necessarily mean it like this soon, but you know what? Why not? Just give it to me whenever I didn't expect it. Why not?
Well, we are here breaking news live. We have the schedule just tweeted out here, the official XFL schedule. Kick off Saturday, February 18th, 3 p.m. Eastern time. The Vipers are taking on the Renegades on ABC. That is exciting. This is the first time I've looked at this. I've actually I was busy tweeting. We have the Orlando Guardians at the Roughnecks on Saturday, and then we are going to have I do not like this already. We'll have to talk about week 2, but and then Sunday, February 19th, we have the Battlehawks taking on the Brahmas, Sea Dragons taking on the DC Defenders, I assume at DC. Interesting stuff here. What do you think week 1?
So, first off, it is really bad that the second game is on FX potentially. I actually don't mind them throwing all these games on FX because I think you knew when you saw FX on all these press releases that Disney wanted to bring FX back as a sports network, and that I understand. But having FX this early into the schedule would handicap the league's exposure significantly. So I'm actually fine with it week 2 and on, but week 1 you need to have that as much exposure as possible, as many ABC games, as many ESPN1 games as possible.
Well, so it's ESPN FX. So does that just mean FX? No, that's a simulcast, right? The 8:30 one.
I'm assuming it's but I don't know.
Well, because see, later on here, we have like ESPN2, ESPN1, and then FX. So I imagine that's the simulcast Guardians. I'll tell you this Thursday, week 2, I'm out of town. Viva Mexico. I'm going to be on the beach in Puerto Vallarta. I was hoping to fly back on Saturday for the game. So we will miss our first Sea Dragons home game. Hate to tell the team over there at the Sea Dragons for that, but Saturday kickoff, Vegas Vipers at Arlington. That makes sense, right? That we're going to have that be the first game.
I mean, I understand why Arlington is decided to be the first game, but I probably would have saved it for like the second or third one just because you would want one of the more flashy markets to be your very first game. But Arlington should still have a much better showing than Orlando, for example, as a home game. So at least there's that.
Yeah, so I think that's where we'll be. I'll figure out a flight here. We'll get our way down to Arlington. And then there you go. Saturday, doubleheader, 3 and 8:30. Vegas Vipers at Renegades, and then Guardians at Roughnecks. We talked about this. See, the St. Louis Battlehawks' first home game is not going to be, looks like week 4. Yeah, week 4 will be the first Battlehawks home game on March 12th, Sunday.
Well, what can I say except for I'm sorry, Dirty. You had to take one for the team here, okay? Listen, at the very least, we'll get the same articles we got like last time, where it's like, ooh, in week 4, the XFL's attendance is rising.
Yeah, I'm just looking at this. This is a ton of FX games. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I mean, this is not a prestigious TV schedule. I do not think. ABC twice the first week and then not again until week 6.
Yeah, it looks that way. But I mean, considering the level of promotion we've had up to this point, I'm actually not that surprised. I think going into this deal, we had to know that that Disney was like, hey, we're doing this because we're going to use you to make FX a sports network, like I said. And quite frankly, the important thing is to get as many people in week 1 as possible. And then from the later weeks on, it's really about, can you maintain some sort of notable audience on cable? And also, what is your audience on broadcast looking like when you get back on broadcast in week 6? Because I think what they're trying to do here is trying to say, hey, we'll give you the exposure week 1, and then it's on you to keep yourself up through there, and then we'll see where you sit at the end of the season and if you deserve to be on more network TV next year.
Yeah, I gotta be I'm not just the XFL homer here. I mean, I've criticized USFL plenty for burying a lot of these games. Week 2, we're already on ESPN, Renegades at Roughnecks. Jenna's checking in the chat. John Lewis is also mentioning Vegas officially announced Cashman Field as their home. I don't know if that's, we tweeted out this morning, the guys over at the CBS station there. I don't know if there's an official announcement right now. People can post in the chat the link if we want to pull that up, but we're just kind of doing the schedule here. We can talk through the Cashman Field and all of that as well. The Cashman Field will make its debut week 2 on FX. Be curious to see, are we burying the Vegas? Vegas is on FX in week 6. Vegas is on ESPN week 7. And Vegas is week 10, ESPN.
Week 9. Oh, no, that's an away game. It's a away game.
We have a question here, Mr. Downtown. Why are they not including the stadium names on the schedule? Probably because they don't want to draw attention to the fact that they're playing at Cashman Field. That would be the indications I got. I know there's been a lot of sourcing, and we're talking all this stuff all week. Indications I got was they were just kind of rolling the Cashman thing out with this of let's not make a big deal about this. I think if it would have been like a Legion or something, obviously that would have had its own standalone announcement. But I think it's hey, we're not going to make a big deal about this. XFL is playing in Vegas. That's all you need to know at this point, right?
Listen, could you imagine The Rock trying to spin Cashman Field?
What do you think? I mean, we might as well right now. What do you think of Cashman? 8,000, they're looking to get there?
And, honestly, the capacity of it's not really an issue for me at this point because it's just so late in the process that it's going to be a grind for them just to fill what is there at Cashman. But I think the fact that they're playing their week 2 and later, hopefully the first week has enough hype behind it, and it should, that people will come out to see week 2 just because it's the first home game, and then that's their chance to impress.
We notice here the championship game does not have a location yet. Is that going to be, we're not going to do a neutral stadium, neutral site?
I don't know.
It's interesting.
We'll find out. Maybe is there more details in the press release? Is this all you got?
Oh, that's actually a good point here. Let me look here for more assets. That's actually a good point. Let me see. Okay, so here's some key. I wish is this on the website? Can you look on the XFL.com and see if it's on here that I can pull this up? The press release says the XFL today announced a 2020 partnership with Walt Disney. Key details: all 43 games. The combination will be on ABC has 7 games. ESPN and ESPN2 have 22 games. FX has 15 games. All XFL games will be streamed on ESPN Plus and simulcast in 142 countries around the world. So that's good. Jenna was asking if you could listen. You could pull up ESPN Plus and maybe have it on your phone that way. Opening weekend kickoff, Arlington Renegades. We talked about that. ESPN will also televise the XFL playoffs, which will take place. The XFL Championship game is set for May 13th and streamed on ESPN Plus. It says on here, the Vegas Vipers will play their home game, 10,000-seat venue in downtown Las Vegas. Fans have access to parking, concessions, and tailgating areas before the game during the season. For more details, please visit xfl.com/St. Louis. Season ticket or Las Vegas season tickets will go on another day. Let me see if I can pull that up as well. So if we share that now. You see it there. It says Cashman Field. Seth's asking and texting me, Seth, I will be coming to DC. If Seth is listening, I'll be coming to DC at some point. Let's see. Do you want to do comments? Let's see here.
Sure, but hold on. You mentioned the single game tickets go on sale on the 12th, right?
It says here, single game tickets this is for Cashman Field will go live on another date. I imagine this is in relation to Cashman specifically.
Yeah, it also says in the next paragraph that single game tickets for all
other teams in Vegas will go on sale January 12th. So you still cannot go on and buy single game tickets for Las Vegas.
Yes, and then there is a pre-sale for all games right now, like a sign-up deal.
Well, I'm assuming, yeah. So, the Vegas Vipers will play. Yes, so that is a good caveat. So if you are in Vegas, anywhere else, you can go on and get your single game tickets on January 12th. What's the sign up? Just being on the list, priority access.
I'm pretty sure it's the same deal as the jerseys.
Okay. We need the jerseys out too. I sure wish. I guess that's it on here. More digital assets. That seems to be the biggest takeaway from that. Okay. So now back to the schedule. We're burying Cashman. We don't want to know about that. Any other takeaways week 1 on here?
Listen, I'm just happy we have the 2 ABC games, honestly. Like, when you consider how poorly the promotion has gone to open up things, and also, let's be real, when you look at the ratings that the USFL got on network after week 1, they're probably like, we don't need to be spending this much effort throwing XFL on network television after week 1 because they can probably get 2/3 as many viewers as they're getting on network on cable, and we can probably have much better margins. So I'm relatively satisfied with the schedule. Obviously, we haven't even done a game by game. I'm gonna let you and Andy do that later because that's way too much detail for us to do right now. But I'm as satisfied as I can be.
So if you look on here, so we have some interesting caveats. So week 2, like I said, Thursday kicking off. I'm gone. The Thursday, the Sea Dragons, Battlehawks, the Sea Dragons. Thursday on FX. That's rough. Week 2 already going. Just like, okay, it's not even the weekend. We're going to the weekday, the FX, whatever. Then the Dragons have another home game on Thursday, March 16th. 2 Thursday home games to start off. Brutal. And then there's a Monday DC game on March 27th and the Friday. I mean, these are just all over the place.
Well, I guess whatever it takes to get on, honestly. And also, like, notice all these weekday games that are like in prime time. I think all of them are on FX.
Yeah, FX is the large portion of these on here.
So I'd imagine that they're like, okay, let's make FX like the new TNT or whatever. We're gonna do weeknight primetime sports games like TNT does. And
is there enough promotion now? Enough promotion time to be able to do that?
Is there time? If The Rock wants there to be, sure. The Rock can make it happen if he wants to. Will he do it? I don't know. Will Disney do it? I don't know.
And and I think that's something to point out here. Max diehard, excellent. Max very wavering here the last couple weeks as well. We're kind of getting frustrated on here. We're taking a break.
No idea.
I mean, but you're coming on here, I think, pretty rational thinking today of like, I don't think this is this Homerville here where we're trying to. I will say this is a scary schedule for me. I do not like this. This is I see nothing but ESPN2 and FX from week 1 up until week 6. A lot of burying here.
Yeah, well, we got ESPN in week 2, but yeah, you're right. Like, I'm not the biggest fan of the slots either. Although, keep in mind, I wouldn't be surprised if ESPN is like, oh, you're doing better than expected. We'll bump you a couple. We'll see. But also, really, honestly, it's more important to me to see what the league can do with the networks they get put on than whether they get on high exposure every single week. And you have to consider that people have already had an impression of the XFL and already know what the XFL is, even if they are not necessarily fans. People will joke every NFL Sunday about how this guy should go to the XFL, and there's dozens upon dozens, if not hundreds, sometimes thousands of tweets about how this guy and that guy should go to the XFL because they all don't like that player. So people don't need to be told again or shown again necessarily what the XFL is. You just need to convince them to watch it.
Do they have? So they've tweeted out. I'm just looking on here. Anything else? So they finally put the press release on the website. They still don't have the full schedule on here. I mean, they tweeted that out.
They have a tab. They have a tab on the site. If you look, there's a tab that says schedule.
Oh, here we go. There we go. Look at that. That's pretty now. Okay. I like this. Pretty. Okay. So yeah, Vegas Renegades. This puts it in a little more context that way. Yeah, definitely not showing the venues. Good matchups week 1. I mean, do you think market wise?
Sure. I mean, St. Louis and San Antonio. Shout out Vegas. That's going to be an exciting clash. Also, very smart to put that game on ABC. And I'm curious to see whether the ESPN FX game combo is a simulcast or a flex, because usually whenever I see those flashes, it means a flex.
So it means if something else runs late, or
it means that they have not actually decided whether to put on ESPN or FX, and they're going to decide to do it later. But now, to be fair, I don't know.
Yeah,
that's just my impression. So if it is that it's both, then I guess that's fine. If it's either and they throw it on FX because they're not impressed with the hype leading up to the launch, then putting it on FX is going to be put a real hurt on the exposure week one.
I don't know. The more I look at this, I'm really terrified. I'm really terrified for some of these and comparisons back to 2020, where I think they just had a more fair. But are we able to pull up? Do we have the TV broadcast from 2020? That's something I should have facilitated ahead of time here. But
I mean, we could pull it up on Wikipedia. Yeah.
Okay. I just feel like there's going to be a lot more comparisons to 2020, and like these are the ratings, and obviously context. I always think is important that way, but I do think that you're going to get rightly or wrongly maligned on these poor ratings when we're going on FX every day. Week 2 here, yeah. So the Thursday started off a Saturday game, Defenders at Vipers. Nice that, like you said, the Las Vegas Lights postponing their home game with enough time for the XFL to play, and they get the turf back together on that. And then Sunday, the Brahmas on ESPN and the Renegades Roughnecks on ESPN too. Yeah. Any luck on the Wikipedia?
Yeah, I've got it. Here, I can send it. But basically, just the general benchmark of how it was they had like usually
post it in the private chat, and I'll get it shared up on here if you don't mind.
Yeah, but I'm just letting you know the general benchmark was there was like 2 network games a week and then 2 cable games. Sometimes there was 1 network and 3 cable games.
Yeah, that vibes with what I'm thinking. But yeah, like this week too, it's just FX, ESPN, ESPN2. I mean, like we're already kind of getting relegated here. It's scary. It's a little scary.
Nothing can scare me at this point. Listen.
So let's see on here. Where standings, regular schedule. Where
go down to broadcasting, and then you go down to viewership.
This is wonderful podcasting. Go down to broadcasting.
Yeah, and then go down to viewership from there.
Go. All right. So yeah, so ABC. There we go. ABC, ESPN, viewership. The first and only year, the 3-year agreement, KRL 43 was scheduled to air 10. So they would have 10 Saturday, 10 ABC games versus the.
I can't imagine there's more than 5.
Yeah, it says on here the breakdown. 7 ABC games, so 3 less. So, I mean, I guess that's not as crazy.
But then you have to consider the Fox games too.
Yeah, Fox had ABC was scheduled to air 10. Fox was to air 7, 5 being televised, 1 Sunday game, which was televised 2 Thursday. Yeah, Fox, ESPN. I tell you, it really hurts that USFL Fox really hurt. I thought that when they came back and announced this deal, with just the ABC, ESPN, I thought that was interesting. So
they did what they had to do. And quite frankly, they were, because I mean, the only other option was CBS, and that would have required putting games on CBS Sports Network, and that's just league suicide. You can't do that. So.
Yeah, so James has a question. Which teams or which divisions? Divisions have not been officially announced. I think we're all imagining Seattle, Vegas, with San Antonio and Houston in that.
From my understanding, if they wouldn't put divisions in the press release, then they're just going to put top 4 teams in the playoffs, and this is based on some mathematical rotating schedule, and there is no divisions. Because geographically speaking, it does not actually make sense.
Here we go. I'm totally lying. Here we go. The 8 XFL teams are split into 2 divisions. XFL North, DC Defenders. This was buried in the press release. DC Defenders, Sea Dragons, Battlehawks, Vipers. In the XFL South, Renegades, Roughnecks, Guardians, and Brahmas. There you go, North and South.
Oh, that's going to really bother some people, because the Battlehawks fans all wanted the rematch with the Renegades, because they're calling them the Rental Hawks or whatever, and now they only get it once, so they're not going to be happy about that at all.
Yeah, here we go. The alignment, there you go. Got it on the website. The alignment of our divisions creates instant rivalries and an added level of excitement, added Rush Brandon. Fans at every XFL game will experience the energy and passion these players bring to the game while being immersed in a stadium experience designed to bring them closer to the action on the field.
Well, it's definitely close at Cashman. So there's that. I will also say this division alignment only works because of the hub, because this would be a travel nightmare if these teams were all actually based in their markets.
Explain on that.
Because like you have Vegas in the same division as DC, and whatnot. That's just not tenable in the normal league.
Yeah. There you go. The XFL North and the XFL South. I think I like that. I like Seattle represented the XFL North division. I think that's good. The USFL did that too, right? North South with the yeah, they do that.
Yeah, but their alignment made more sense because all their teams were on the eastern side of the country. So and also they weren't traveling. So, and they still aren't really traveling now, like cross country. Whereas, obviously, this doesn't matter for now. But like, if they kept this alignment and you had Vegas traveling to DC and DC traveling to Vegas in the same season, that's just not right.
Well, but I mean, they are traveling every week. I mean, they're traveling back to Texas. And
no, for now it's fine. And the hub is great, but when they leave the hub, that's a problem, is what I'm saying.
Well, but I mean, you're still flying back to Texas. I mean, travel's going to be tough on this. I mean, I've seen a lot of
like
comments.
when they leave the hub for permanently, like when they get based in the markets, it's going to be a problem. So either they're to come up with a new alignment, or maybe they'll have new teams by then. Who knows? Anything's possible.
When we're a real football league.
We're a real football league now.
Are we? Yeah. I mean, is this enough? Are we a real football league now?
We're a real football league. Well, are we professional? We'll find out, I guess.
Yeah. So see, it says on here I'm just looking at any other clarification on the slash because we're curious about this Guardians Roughnecks game. ESPN FX. ESPN FX and then ESPN. So all the games will be on ESPN Plus. So I guess that's good. Mike Mitchell and his Disney bundle will be happy. He can get all the XFL games on ESPN Plus.
Yeah, I mean, and also, I mean, considering how last time the international broadcasts were all on this weird service that no one actually uses anymore called ESPN Player. ESPN Plus is an upgrade if you like live in the UK or whatever and you want to watch the XFL, because if you are a sports fan who really likes American sports, you probably have ESPN Plus internationally.
We have a question here from Tanner. Seems odd waiting so long for a home game for the Battlehawks. Hope they don't stink. From what I heard, St. Louis, they gave them 5 or 6 dates, and they said these are the dates you can do. I think there's events planned in there through the end of February, right, Max? Am I remembering that correctly? What is the dilemma with the?
There was some convention or something going on the first couple weeks of the season, just like the last time. That was like, okay, we can't have St. Louis available for at least the first couple weeks. That was what the local news in St. Louis reported. Maybe there was another thing going on week 3. I'm not familiar specifically with what's going on at the Dome, but quite frankly, the league knows that people will show up no matter when in the season St. Louis plays their games, and I guarantee you they kept that in mind when scheduling St. Louis.
It's hard though, because I thought it was week 3. I thought they missed the first 2. I thought they said that February was out there and they were going to go in March. So it is where it's week 4. Sunday, March 12th. I mean, we're almost a month into the season before they get a home game like that. That is really rough.
They better win, because if they're 0-3, I mean, I think they'll still show up, but it might not be amicable when they show up. Let me put it that way.
Any expectations? Vipers at Renegades. I mean, I know people wanted the Dome for the kickoff. I mean, it makes sense. They're going to do it, in Arlington with the hub. Same thing, I mean, USFL, but like when we were there for the Birmingham kickoff, you have everybody in the world there that game for the kickoff. So you want to have everybody, all your staff and everybody there to kind of see what's going on. But I mean, Vipers at Renegades, I really would have thought they would have tried to get Battlehawks in that kickoff game.
Well, I think they were like, oh, we can get the 2 biggest fan bases. Well, the 2 biggest fan bases, or at least the 2 non-NFL city fan bases with a large amount of fans clashing against each other. And they were like, ooh, let's do that. And then that way they can have like some sort of skit about like the battle of these 2 fans or whatever. And also, I think they wanted to try to split out some of these bigger fan bases so that they didn't necessarily all come front loaded, because there's going to be hype around the first game no matter who plays in it, as long as it's not a Cashman, because that would have been a disaster. But yeah.
Yeah, Mike, we have a bunch of questions here about the Thursday. I was just checking to see if there was any Thursday games later in the season. I'm going to need to figure out, is that a Sounders schedule? Like, why are we so opposed to playing in Lumen Field on Saturdays and Sundays? I'm trying to figure that out, if there's a reason why, because it seems like it's a Seattle problem and then it's a DC problem there in March. But
It
seems
could be
like
a number of things. It could be, I'm sure the Sounders play a factor, but it wasn't an issue the first time around. So I'm imagining it's Sounders, but also, really, if we're being honest, the time zone. And on top of that, they're thinking, we don't want to, if we're going to put a Pacific time game, so it's a later night game, if we're going to do that and we want to put it on FX, the last thing you want to show on FX is an empty Cashman Field. Or even a half full Cashman Field, because it would not look good on primetime TV. So they're like, okay, Seattle fans will show up. We're going to throw them on FX. End of story.
I hate that. I mean, I'm not going to be here. I hate that the kickoff game it's rough. That's rough. James gave us a super chat. Don't get too many of those. I'll cover Max's face for a second here. One thing that makes him so furious about fans of spring football is they don't understand most of these franchises have to share space with concert events and other sports. That makes sense. I understand, but still, it just seems weird that Seattle is really being targeted here with that first game. That is rough.
Yeah, I mean, I'll also say that some other tenants, which before may not have been as big, although still kind of big, like the Seattle Reign now, the women's professional soccer team in Seattle is doing really well, and they're a hot ticket too. So they have much more priority than maybe they even had a couple of years ago. So there's a lot of competition at Lumen Field for dates, times, and seats and money.
So I'm just looking on here. So the RV show is going on here. I'm gonna deep dive this right now while we're on here. Keep in mind that Andy Murray is going to be on with me later for our normal Friday show. We'll record. It'll be a lot more focused discussion. This is kind of our breaking reaction right now. Andy's coming on. Pat Ruffino's coming on as well. So stick around. We'll have our regular show tomorrow, Friday. Max was kind enough to get up early for me today. We're doing field to table in Lumen Field. Field to table is created with it. They've done this. It's like a dinner in there. Dined in the 50-yard line. That is taking away my my right to the 18th, and then the RV show, the home show.
These are all at the event center, except for the field show. The field table, that's at Lumen Field. The rest are, if you look there, at the event center.
Yeah, the event center. So that makes sense the first weekend. I don't get that follow-up. I don't get the follow-up weekend and why we can't.
Wait, hold on. It's because the Sounders are at home. They're like, we don't want you to tear up the field before we play. That's why.
Sounders are at home on the 26th. All right, so we're blaming the Sounders and Colorado Rapids. That is the issue here.
It has to be a factor. Although, to be fair, I think this Lumen Field is actually, if it's turf, then I can't use that as a factor. So, but I'd imagine it's not turf because they're playing soccer there, and usually they're very anti-turf.
It's frustrating. Comments in here with only 7. Chris says, let's get rid of this for a second. With only 7 network games, ABC, is it safe to say the XFL is a cable league? Kind of feels that way.
Yes, but no. I mean, I think when Danny was talking about wanting to transcend being on TV just in general and just wanting to be a 365, blah, 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 which, to be fair, we haven't gotten that 365. But think about it. They got cameras everywhere. So I think we're going to see the 365 aspect come on more as the actual season comes on, and then after the season when they show us everything that they recorded. Because right now they're making it all right now, because we can tell they're hiring all these people. They got $7 showing up. They got everybody showing up. But in terms of its presence on TV, it's a cable and streaming league. They're trying to hedge the combination of those two things, so they can say, hey, if you're a cord cutter, we got you here on ESPN Plus, and if you're still on TV, you probably have FX or ESPN or ESPN2, because ESPN2 is in almost as many houses as ESPN, or homes, I should say. So it should be fine. It's not like going on FS2, okay, where like certain cable providers just straight up don't give out FS2, okay, or it's not like being on Peacock, where most people don't even want Peacock, okay, like. It's better than that. So let's start.
I did see, just speaking of hirings, they did post the game day ops coordinator, a seasonal for the Sea Dragons from December to May. That is a really good read, like part-time work schedule. I wonder what that job pays. What is I wonder what the game day ops seasonal coordinator position does for the XFL Sea Dragons.
I'm guessing it's related to like handling stuff on game day with like fans and moving stuff around and just all sorts of logistic stuff, I'd imagine.
They said here, these guys, I assume so don't
Oh no, I
understand.
do. I said it.
It's fine. I mean, it's not broadcast. It's not broadcast. And I will tell you, when the USFL schedule comes out, all these homers of these leagues, and they're going to be sitting there. They go, look, they've got 16 games on Fox, or they've got whatever games on NBC, right?
When the XFL is averaging almost as many viewers on ESPN or ESPN2 as they are on Fox and NBC, don't at me when they're halfway through the season, because they don't promote their league either. And unlike the USFL, the XFL already has a carryover of real fans outside of Birmingham, Alabama.
Do you ballpark week one? Here, let's do this. Ballpark week one. Here we go. I got to add this back on. The week one ratings. Ballpark that. What do you think? What do you think the kickoff Vipers, Renegades, ABC is going to be?
Probably somewhere in the range of 3 million, just like the last couple leagues have been. Now I get why you're shaking your head, because you're like, I don't like the promotion, this and that. I mean, the USFL had no promotion, still got 3 million on their simulcast. So outside of the Super Bowl commercial, but like people already know about the XFL. We don't need to tell them about the XFL on a Super Bowl commercial. People know about it. You just got to make sure to post about it, get people on the ground about it. People will watch the opener. I am very certain of that.
Jenna's just happy there's no Peacock Channel games. Well, they don't, because that's NBC. I mean, what if this was on? ABC doesn't have, right? They don't have their own Paramount Plus or whatever. That's
Disney Plus, basically, if you think about it, Disney or Hulu, really.
Yeah, at least we don't have Hulu exclusive games on here. I don't know. I don't feel good about this. I
feel fine. I feel very fine about it. I don't feel amazing about it. I'm just like, okay, this is over with. Honestly, before the schedule was released, I was like, I really don't care what the actual schedule is. I just want the league to be back. I don't really care. And what's really important is that the league makes a good impression in week one, and that they have a strong carryover on cable. And then they keep that cable audience going. They keep promoting off of cable too. They hopefully have a strong show on ESPN Plus. And that's enough to keep a league going. And really, that's what's going to get the league paid. Because in the long run, there's no way the league was ever going to survive on network television. So, it was always eventually going to be shifted to cable and streaming, because that's where these leagues prove that they're worth being a sports property. The only league that is constantly on broadcast television is the NFL.
Oh, everyone should be fine about this. Only a hater wouldn't be fine. Okay. Well, now I'm the XFL hater, so I can't win. Remember that? Remember, people see, all these USFL stands don't remember. There was the time I was the big XFL hater when I was like, the league's not kicking off this year and they're going to delay. And now I was the big Reed hates the XFL. And now, I mean, how the turns table, but it is weird. Rock promoting on Instagram alone will be huge. I don't know. I did another deep dive, Max. I did another deep dive in The Rock with his. I had a whole variety article yesterday about Rock wanting Terramana bars at Black Adam premieres and stuff. I know The Rock doesn't run everything, but it's still, yeah.
This is different because, well, first off, if we're being honest with ourselves, the promotion itself, people came out to see that movie. The problem was that it was a bad movie and people didn't want to go see it once they knew it was a bad movie. So, now to be fair, was there involvement from him on choosing who was the writers for that movie? Yes. So is it his fault partially did he produce the movie? Yes, he did. So was it partially his fault that the movie was bad? Yes. But also, does he know how to promote something to get people to show up? Yeah, he does. So
John wins here. I want this put on my tombstone. Noted USFL hater is now an XFL hater. Sad. Yeah, that is. I put that on my tombstone here. All right, good. There we go. Back up on the schedule here. Like I said, Andy and I, we got to do a little bit longer on here. We're going to get some more comments and stuff. Any other large takeaways from this? Anything else you want to glean that I'm missing to talk through?
I would not have Orlando on the first day of games. because
Talk through.
Because Orlando might be the worst team in the XFL, and I don't think that's a hot take. So having your worst team play on the first day is always bad. Like I would have shifted Orlando to the very last game, and I would have had also the DC environment always impresses on TV. So having DC on day one would have gone a long way towards impressing people. Although I do think the Houston environment's pretty great, honestly. So it should still be fine. It just might be a blowout.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't know. I don't love this. The Vipers Renegades. That doesn't.
Hey, listen, you got Martavis Bryant. Okay, they're gonna hedge on Martavis if he makes the roster because I think he's washed. Maybe I'm wrong, but people who watched him at the Pirates said he was washed, and I don't know. If he's not washed and he makes the roster, or they just let him be on the roster anyway, they'll hype around Martavis Bryant. They're going to have an ABC game in Texas with Bob Stoops, and there's enough cachet there that people will watch it, and maybe there'll even be more turnout than expected. Who knows? I think it's fine. It's not my favorite pick, but it works.
We have Danny's love for Orlando is not good. Yeah, did Danny flex the primetime Saturday Orlando game? Is this a Danny Garcia decision?
Nah, Disney was like, we don't know what your hype is like. We're going to decide whether we want this on ESPN or FX, and or maybe they'll do it both. Maybe they got nothing else to throw on either of those networks and just give us both. I don't know what that slash means. I'm assuming as someone who's dealt with college football and seeing our games thrown around on all sorts of different networks, from ESPN to ESPN2 to ESPNU to ESPN Plus, as someone who watches SMU, that I have no idea. I can't say for certain that they're going to be on both, and I'm expecting or.
Yeah, I agree with Chris here a lot. Interesting they didn't come out with a more reliable week to week. I know that they're not. Fox and NBC had that benefit with the USFL. I still don't think they use that to its full extent. I would have, like, if we're on FS1 or FS2, like, be every week Saturday 3:00, whatever the channel is. I think consistency is more important than the channel breakdown. What do you make of that?
I think, although if you look at the schedule, I think the FX time slots are pretty consistent, honestly.
FX9, well, you got the Thursday game in there. FX7 1. Yeah, that's actually interesting. So FX7. Oh man, 10.
It looks like you have FX games to start the week, and then you have a game of the week on ESPN2 or ESPN, with some exceptions like later in the season. But like to the mid-season, that's what it looks like.
Can we talk about them? So we have a 10 p.m. Eastern Sea Dragons home game week. Like, why do they hate the Sea Dragons?
Well, I mean, that'd be 7:00 your time.
I understand that, but it's 10:00 Eastern. Are people going to be watching an XFL game till 1 a.m?
Pac-12, it's like Pac-12 after dark. I mean, we'll have to see. But hey, listen, I think you got to think that they were like, hey, we can get you on a better channel or whatever, because I believe I'm trying to read this.
Yeah. And then what about this week 5? So we have a Vegas home game. That's fine. 10:00 Sunday night. They have a 10 p.m. Eastern. So that would be 9 San Antonio Brahmas game. We have a 9 p.m. game on ESPN2.
Well, yeah, sometimes. Yeah, that's the one. Sorry, I got mixed up with the week 4 Seattle game. That one's not on a better channel. But anytime you're on, it doesn't matter whether you're on 1 or 2 in terms of exposure. It's about the same. It's just about whether or not people want to watch your stuff or not. Because usually they'll automatically shift the bigger properties onto ESPN1. But like if you have enough hype behind it, ESPN2 could still be ESPN1 if you have enough hype. So
well, ESPN2 is like basically synonymous. I mean, I think if you get ESPN1, you get ESPN2, right?
Yeah,
I mean, so
if they want to do a later night game to shift on the ESPN2 and try to do that XFL after dark, even if it's not on the West Coast, that's fine. The 10:00 game on FX, at least they're going with a brand. Do I like it? I don't know what to think of that brand of having those primetime games on FX, but they have a brand they want to push, and it's on them to see whether or not they can make XFL and FX a thing. I will say, I told this to you and to Mike a long time ago, the XFL on FX is really catchy. So if they can make it work, it might be cool. We'll see.
Question here. Okay, so if we had to rank, so obviously ABC, would you put ESPN, ESPN2, and then FX in that order, right?
I mean, yeah, I think FX has I think it's on like 60 million. homes. And then ESPN and ESPN2 both have about 80 million homes. So yeah.
Yeah, I'll tell you that Sunday 9 p.m. local game on ESPN2, that is scary. And then any other scary, cut a couple noon kickoffs, another 9 p.m. East. So I mean 6 p.m. local Seattle. I mean Seattle really has got the shaft here with all of this. I mean, like seriously, and I don't care. I mean, it doesn't. I'll go to the games or not. I'm not saying that but we have a 7 local game ESPN2 on week 8. And then we have, I mean, it's just bad, right? Am I looking at that right? 9, week 10, Dragons. That's the last game of the season. Vipers at Dragons, 9 p.m.
It's not
Sunday.
ideal. No, it's not ideal. But if they're going to put a team in prime time, they have to make sure it's one that looks good. So even if it's not on a great channel.
If this season doesn't go as as God's intended here, and the ratings fall off a cliff, I mean that could be the death of the XFL. There, Vegas Vipers at Dragons. I could be at the funeral march here, headed into the playoffs.
So I will say, apparently, as of 2018, FX actually had had over 80 million homes. So it might actually be the case that FX has just as much reach in cable packages, which I wouldn't be surprised. But even still, if it had just as much reach as ESPN and ESPN2, ESPN and ESPN2 are known as sports channels, whereas FX isn't. So there's still that advantage. I'll take it being as many homes as we can get, honestly. And also the promotion power of Disney, if they get behind this, if The Rock gets behind this like we think they will, then maybe they will turn FX into the next TNT. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, we've had the one commercial so far, Monday Night Football. Have you noticed a discernible bump in chatter because of the commercials or anything thus far?
I think, yeah, well, not like a lot, but every time you see a commercial, there'll be like 5 or 6 posts being like, "Oh, the XFL is coming back. I forgot about that," or like, "Oh, there's an XFL commercial. I don't want to see that," or, "Oh, there's an ad for the XFL on here, but the main sponsor of this college football game isn't getting as many ads," or whatever. Like people notice. I think most people aren't like thinking about the actual games coming yet, mostly because they didn't have a schedule. Now that we can see what they're going to do with the schedule, we'll see. I will say this: there have that promo. I sent you like screenshots of when that promo is coming through. They're on all the big bowl games, the playoff games. They're going hard, not just on the NFL, Monday Night Football, but they're going hard on college football. They know their market.
Am I so damn negative on everything, Max?
I think you're just maybe personally affected as a Seattle Sea Dragons fan, which I understand.
Well, no, but I mean, I don't, like I said, I work for myself. My life is I can go to any game at any time. I mean, the one game I'm in Mexico, that's my, but I mean, it just seems like, am I overly negative on the reach of the game? I don't know. I mean, what am I being overly negative about?
I think you're just maybe a little bit bothered by the number of FX games, which again, I understand why you're bothered about all those FX games. Although I will say this, the back end of the season, if you're looking, is like all ESPN and ABC and ESPN2. So they're smart. They're trying to build up towards the playoffs. Now, at least if it has enough reach, it's smart. If it doesn't have enough reach, then you're ruining exposure in week 2. And time will tell whether that's a smart promotion strategy or not. It could work. You have The Rock behind you. You have Disney behind you. You can make this work. And we'll see whether or not it makes sense at the end of the season to say, hey, we built up week 1. We maintained a strong cable audience. And then we built up to network television and bigger cable games as the games that really mattered. And also, quite frankly, the quality of play will be better on those games than in week 2, if we're being real with ourselves. So we'll see.
This is a good. Chris reads my mind sometimes. But take away on the schedule. It's a reminder at the end of the day, spring football is ultimately seen as programming filler by networks, building fan base secondary.
And we're really lucky that we have a prior season with the XFL where we have 5 out of 8 markets with established fans. Because if Vince hadn't gone so hard as he did, we would not be in this position where we could say, hey, yeah, we're not always on broadcast early, and most of our better cable games aren't until late, but we already have enough established audience where hopefully we should still be able to pull together and have a strong season.
We have a question here going back to Allegiant. Oh yeah, is Allegiant a win for the league? It's a win in that I'm so tired of, or Cashman, I'm so tired of talking about the Vegas Stadium. I could just literally like stab this microphone in my head. So I'm really done with it. I mean, I don't. I think it's a wash. What do you think?
Okay, so I want to go fast rewind a little bit. So because I've done all this research on Redbird and whatnot, knowing that Redbird wanted Vegas and didn't come up with an alternative plan that was real for if Vegas didn't work out is the biggest red flag about everything. And not in terms of things failing or whatnot, but just like in terms of like, what are you doing? Redbird is notorious with their soccer clubs research. They were researching like over 80 clubs for like 5 years. They're like, we're going to find the perfect stadium in the perfect metro area with the perfect academy, all that. They made sure they found the right choice. And then with Vegas, they're like, okay, we're going in on Vegas no matter what. We don't care where we're playing, or at least we do care where we're playing, and we're going to try to hold out for these great stadiums. But then when they don't want us, we're still going to be in Vegas. We're not going to try to move the team somewhere else. Those factors with the ballpark and with Allegiant will not change. They will never be able to get in those venues unless they want to pay an exorbitant fee, or unless they rebuild up Cashman, which maybe they decide to buy Cashman and turn into a real estate property. That makes way more sense than buying Sam Boyd, because there is a lot of real estate development going on in downtown Las Vegas. So we'll see. It's still going to be a lot more challenging and plan than what they probably had in mind. And I just wish they had the same commitment to their process with Vegas as they had with their soccer clubs.
He says here, yeah, they signed the multi-year deal with Cashman, so that does speak to at least their commitment. I mean, you're not going to not. What do you think about that? I guess they did sign the multi-year. It's not like, hey, we're just going to deal with this right now.
Where else were they going to go? If you know what I mean, like if you've seen the things that I've seen, okay, that Cashman was the end all be all. It's not a win. No, it's definitely not a win. But here we are. It's what's left. We're going.
I do like how our, Kevin Costner Field of Dreams, and we're getting the baseball stadium out of Vegas. Very prophetic here of what ultimately came to pass. I think Choctaw, we have the retrofitted Globe Life. That's the baseball stadium. I never got the hesitation on Cashman. I think you can add. I have this pulled up that we can show. I'll get it pulled up here in a second. But, I think the baseball is better than XFL playing in a high school stadium. Do you think the press of, 2 baseball stadiums is better than high school stadium?
I think it just depends on who you ask. I will say that Cashman is a bit of a dump. It's like the Cashman is just not comparable to Choctaw Stadium in any way other than the fact that they used to be baseball stadiums. That is the only similarity. Now, I will say, with it being such a dump, it's probably really cheap to purchase. So, hey, Redbird, get on your real estate game. You always love real estate. It's probably your only way to fix this Vegas situation unless you leave, which would be a little awkward considering how you could have just never gone there in the first place.
Question here. We get this a lot. Vegas is having an actual soccer stadium built, so Cashman's temporary. That's many years. Can you explain the Vegas MLS stadium deal?
That commitment, as far as I understand from all the reporting, is only guaranteed. They were like, okay, we're going to go in on this if we can get a partner with someone who wants to come in and make an MLS team happen here. And then that fell through. There hasn't been any recent reporting in Vegas, from my understanding, about there actually being a new stadium. And on top of that, the money definitely is not there. There's been no appropriations from the public government. So at this point in time, I don't think we can say that there is going to be a new stadium built in Las Vegas for a soccer team, or really for any other entity, including the Oakland Athletics right now. So we'll just have to wait and see. Maybe that changes, but at this point in time, that would not be something you should predict.
Yeah, I don't mind them taking the big, like you said, Redbird taking the big investment in this, building it up. Maybe the Las Vegas Lights kind of take off a little bit more mutually, whatever that way. I don't mind that. I think that I just never got the hesitation where this is what you do in Dallas. There's no reason why you couldn't just do this and kind of retrofit that. It's going to look wonky. I think it's fine. It doesn't bother me as much. I just wish they would have done this 2 months ago. I don't get any indication of why the delay on this, or we're just kind of hemming and hawing.
I mean, let's be real. They were probably holding out to try to get in Allegiant somehow or try to get in the ballpark, and they just kept getting no, 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 no. And they probably went and looked at the other stadiums and were like, we hate these stadiums. We don't want to go here. These aren't professional. And they were like, well, and they kept holding out long enough to the point where it's like, well, you've hired Las Vegas event staff. Like, you have to go in on Vegas at this point, or else you're going to be in trouble. So I think they were forced to settle for Cashman because they didn't really have a choice. And that's on them, and on them for not sticking to the process that they normally have for picking markets. And now they're just going to have to, they've made their bed, and now they have to lie in it. And it's on them to make something good of it.
Do you think The Rock is becoming confused with his Black Adam alter ego and thinks that he has superpowers? He does. I'm like, well, no, I'm Black Adam here. This is what we're doing.
I'm 100% sure that Redbird was behind the Vegas.
That's okay. That's okay. I just, I'm coming off the Black Adam. I spent the weekend watching that. It's just very, very interesting, just perspective. And I don't know. I know that they're not pulling all the strings there, but it does speak to a lot of that. Guys, in the comments, do we like Castro? Do we like not? What do you think of the schedule? What other big takeaways here? I mean, well, Andy and I will do a full breakdown later. I want to make sure we get enough chatter on here right now where we're kind of breaking news. People are still catching, hopping on the stream now.
Okay, so outside of the XFL and FX thing, and FX trying to be a sports network deal, I will say I'm probably most excited for week 1 to see that St. Louis San Antonio game, and also the following Seattle and DC game. Both of those games should be really exciting. You have a very strong contrast of like styles of football between those pairs of teams. St. Louis seems to be more passing oriented, whereas San Antonio is more run oriented. And then you can say the same thing for Seattle and DC. You have the run and shoot in Seattle game. So there should be plenty of excitement in those second pair of games, those second 2 games on Sunday to open the season.
So you think 3 or 4? You think 3 or 4? Yeah, I'm trying to figure out here. Like, do I do Dallas and then up to San Antonio and then down to Mexico?
Go anywhere but Houston, because Houston will blow out Orlando by at least 3 scores. I promise you that. AJ Smith is going to put up so many yards and points on Orlando. It's not even funny.
Yeah, I think that's going to be my life. I would like to go to that Sea Dragons DC thing. Guys, comment too, like, which games you're going to here. I'm trying to figure out. We got to be in Puerto Vallarta on Monday. So I think we do Dallas, San Antonio. Is that doable? San Antonio's at 3. Going to be tight. We'll see.
It'll be two local.
Yeah. Two local. That's a good point.
Yeah. So keep in mind, this is all Eastern time. Yeah. Obviously, I'm going to be tuning in on TV for all of these, so I'm going to be real excited. But we'll see which of these games end up actually being exciting and which games people actually want to go to. We'll just have to find out.
We had a comment too about the soccer, about the football field fitting in here. Can they even fit a football field? I'm going to cover
Cashman, they can fit it. I'm 100% sure they can fit it. There's spare room on the ends. They can make it work. I can't doubt that. I'm sure they'll be fine. I think they've even played high school football games, perhaps, there before. I'm not certain about that, but I would not worry about Cashman. Worst case scenario, the absolute worst case scenario, you can do the thing where you have one end zone and then like just have them always go the same direction, and then like have them if they get an interception, they just run to the end and then it's a touchdown. Because otherwise, it should be fine. But again, I don't think that's a problem. From my understanding, that should not be a problem.
I think it's like Fantasy football. Flip the field. That is my biggest critique. If not that anyone cares, the Fantasy football. My biggest critique is they always go the one direction. I wish that it was more set up like a normal football field.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying I'd love it, but at least it'd be functional. But I also don't think that's an issue. I don't think it's going to happen.
I say Harrison here. I think there's more FX games than I expected. Best news is the league made the right call and went Cashman over Bishop Gorman. Yeah, I agree there. Right, high school over.
I agree, but no comment on no comment. I agree with you, but no comment.
Did you more FX games than you were expecting?
Maybe a little. I think I knew in my heart of hearts that this was not going to be a network league, honestly, just because. They've already had that exposure from the prior season. So ESPN's like, okay, we've given you exposure. Fox gave you exposure. Now what can you do as your own league, as a real sports property on cable? That's where sports leagues make their money. So it's on them to prove it. And it is what it is.
Ken here. Will I be able to watch in Canada? I was able to watch XFL 2020. Can't remember how and enjoyed it. Are they playing games in the hub? No. Schedule, everything. No hub. All housed in Arlington, traveling out. Canada will be on TSN, right? Is that how they did it before?
Well, actually, I mean, I don't know if they'll do it on TSN again. I'd imagine they don't have a whole lot else to put on TSN during parts of the XFL season. But also, even if it's not on TSN, Canadians have access to ESPN Plus too. So there's that. But I would imagine we get some simulcasts in Canada with TSN, but to be determined.
Texas Pete, they'll bring back the cheerleaders after 10 p.m. There you go. That's a good one, Texas Pete.
Yeah.
And Texas Pete also does not like your besmirchment of the Orlando Guardians.
Okay, get a real quarterback.
Well, that's true.
And also a real offensive coordinator, that too.
Can we talk through, and I'll get Andy's thoughts later. Talk through Te'amu here going to DC.
So yeah, if you'll pull the post up from Fred Keiss. Fred Keiss posted on Tuesday a picture of him with Jordan Te'amu saying, "Hey, welcome everyone, welcome Jordan Te'amu to the DC Defenders." So there is now no dispute about whether Jordan Te'amu is going to the Defenders. I would expect him to either be the favorite or the co-favorite to win that job, just because he's probably the most proven out of any of those quarterbacks and is also perhaps the best passer out of any of those quarterbacks. We'll see, though, for sure. It's been a while since Eric Dungey has really played, and maybe De'Aaron King has something to prove that I can't think about right now. I'm excited because whoever wins that job should be a really good quarterback, because even if they aren't the guy you'd expect to win, they beat out the other guy, which is the main reason why I'm so upset about Orlando right now, because whoever wins that job didn't really have to beat anyone that established.
But Max, has Jordan signed the contract?
I would expect him to be signed if he's showing up with Fred Keiss. I mean,
until I said before with Brian Scott, until I get a signed, faxed, and notarized the contract here on my doorstep, I don't believe anybody really is anybody playing in this league.
I mean, let's put it this way. Folks who say that when all the people who got drafted from the USFL show up tomorrow or today or yesterday, ready to go for the league, y'all can just stop talking.
So you said this. So Coach Keiss tweeted this out or Instagrammed it out. This is with Mike's article over at NewsHub. This was like on his personal Instagram, right? Like 14 followers. We got a lot.
I think it might have a little more. It might have 20 now because of the attention. But yes, it had like 14 followers. I found it literally on accident. Like the XFL, I went through the all tagged posts that tagged the XFL over like the past week on Instagram. I just found it. He didn't even have an Instagram account until December, Coach Keiss. So it was pure luck.
When do we think Te'amu will get officially? Because Mike posted this. It's not officially assigned yet. I mean, Mike said that he's been sitting on this info for a while. But where do you think he'll be assigned? When do you think he'll be assigned?
When Jeffrey wants to get it done. I don't know.
There you go.
When Jeffrey Alstada wants to get it done. I don't know.
Other question, DC, does that make the most sense for him? I mean, I know you were talking through that a little bit when I was trying to pull up the article.
Yeah, I think they needed someone who was more proven as a passing quarterback than the other two guys they had. Not to say that I don't think either of those guys could be as good passers. And also, quite frankly, they needed someone who had the size while also being a more proven passer. So Te'amu checks those boxes. And also, he's like the guy that you can say, hey, you beat this guy, you've proven yourself. Whereas, again, Orlando does not have that guy right now. So I'm very confident in what the DC quarterback room has to offer. And quite frankly, at every single team except for Orlando, I am pretty confident in what the QBs they have.
Do you think Jordan will find more success than he had in the USFL?
If he wins the job, yes. Fred Keiss is a really experienced offensive coordinator who has had a lot of success at the HBCU levels and in FCS. And also, it's a run oriented scheme that has it's like run to set it's like pass set the run, but also they run a lot. So they pass early, but then they run later with a lot of power run. And if you look at the players they have across their scheme, there's a lot of talent on that roster. I'd be feeling really good about your team if you're a DC Defenders fan, and also quite frankly, like I said earlier, if you're a fan of any team but the Orlando Guardians, you should be very happy about your roster. And even if you're an Orlando Guardians fan, yeah, your QB room might not be that good, but you have some really exciting young players on that team like Charleston Rambo. So you should be excited just to watch this league.
It says here, I can't believe how many people dip from USFL to XFL. USFL has talent issues going into year two. Top two QBs dipped, and many other top players all left. Says a lot about what the players think. I mean, what are your thoughts on this?
I'll put it this way. As long as the money is similar, they're going to pick whatever league gives them a better shot in the calendar to go to the NFL. And it's pretty obvious for reasons that we've gone over with the difference with the off-season schedule. It's better to get out early. So the XFL has that in their favor. They also have in their favor that they're in markets, yada yada, but also they're a more modern league offensively, whereas the USFL is playing a lot of really not just run oriented, but like really run oriented to the point where a lot of the QBs really haven't had as much high passing attempts as you would think or whatever. And I mean, you've talked about this before with Paul Reese about how like the passing yards per game is like at an all-time low compared to other leagues in the NFL that goes back like 20 years. So this league, the XFL has play callers and schemes and the other factors that we talked about that are the more important things that make it much more sense to play in this league over the other one. And maybe the USFL will change inside to modernize, but currently they're very old school with the football they're playing.
Let me give a shout out here. Let me get over to this. Let me give a shout out to our girl Haley here. Haley, social media here. This is phenomenal here. And I don't know, I haven't had a chance to look and see if any of the other people have done this. If you go through here, so this is what home in Seattle looks like, obviously whatever. We're down at Pike Place Market. We got the graffiti here. See, that was the teaser from yesterday. Yeah. We got the Seattle on there. Putting on the this is I'm gonna have to look through to see if any of the other social media people have done this yet. This is phenomenal. We're at the Starbucks Reserve here, and then if you go on here, then it pops up in the new. There we go, and then you have obviously all the home games. But shout out my girl Haley on here. I think that's really good. I don't know if we can look and see the other teams, but really really good stuff. Really really good. The 5 home games.
I'd imagine St. Louis has one because they posted a teaser too. I don't know if any of the other teams will have one though.
I will say though, I would have little sad we didn't put the gum wall, the Pike Place gum wall. I would have put the gum wall on there for one of the.
I'm not a Seattleite, so I can't comment.
Yeah, no, they just have the teaser from yesterday, and then
they got that. Yeah. So we'll click on the arrows. Okay, yeah, no. Oh well, at least one team tried.
I just will say, I'm very pleased with this. But this is like, we need this consistency though. We can compliment, but then we need this consistency across the board with that. Yeah. Haley's awesome. Yes.
Yeah. Haley's doing overtime and trying to get that check mark back because they had to change the team name to Sea Dragons just because even though if they kept the Dragons, they'd still have that check mark on Twitter. So,
let's see. Let's see what here we go. Let's see what our boy Jay's working on. Jay Noakes. Here we go. I love this. So maybe they're just taking time putting all these up. This is great. So see, I don't know. Residents at Pearl. I think I know that. I've spent enough time. Yes, I do know the Pearl. I've spent enough time in San Diego or San Antonio. Renegades, Brahmas.
This is great.
These are great. These are great. Yeah, I don't know if Jay did this or I don't know if they have a creative person. We got the Riverwalk here.
I'd imagine it was the graphic designers and art directors and all those folks that got hired.
Yeah, but it's great. This is great. Anyone else? Can anyone else? Can you find a place to print the schedule? I don't see that yet. I don't see an official. I think all the teams have printed their own schedules.
Should we just check out all the team accounts, see if we got these on the other teams like the Guardians and whatnot?
Yeah, I have nothing to do today until I record with Pat Ruffino here later on today. So yeah, so we're still getting ready. So the DC Defenders, just the normal on
Did we
there.
scroll down? Is it the normal one?
Oh no, we do.
Oh,
Maybe Battlehawks did. Maybe I just didn't scroll down all the way. Okay, now okay. This is hot. I love these. This is great.
I love this. Awesome.
Is this Bill McCullough? How do you say his last name?
Bill McCullough.
Is this Bill McCullough putting in work? Is this the Emmy award-winning producer putting in work?
No,
He's
I think this is the
content creator, right?
The graphic designers and the art directors and the creative directors. I mean, maybe Bill McCullough was like, do this, but outside of that, I don't think Bill McCullough had anything to do with it.
This is
because like he's more about producing content at the bigger level than like this little stuff. But maybe he had a hand in it. Now
these are phenomenal. These
oh
are
my
so
god,
good.
I love this. This is awesome. And I know I'm going to sound like a fanboy. I've been waiting 3 years. I don't care what you think of me right now. I don't care.
No, this is good. I just think this is cute. I think this is all consistent style. All looks good on here. Okay, so we did the Defenders. So yeah, did we just not scroll down? No, Battlehawks don't. I did scroll down.
Battlehawks don't have it yet, but also I'm not exactly sure who's running their social media right now because maybe they don't have one. We'll see. Vegas, let's see. Oh,
and they do have that though. New digs.
That's nice.
Field.
That looks nice good. Graphic.
That's fine.
Do we see if we have anything else? If you scroll down.
No.
Okay, so let's try Arlington and Houston and Orlando.
What is it, Renegades? Yeah, here we go.
Oh.
So keep in mind, Max and I kind of live breaking news right now. Andy we'll have a much more concise episode on Friday if you're checking us out for the first time on here. Normal 7 a.m. Pacific on Friday. Andy and Pat coming on previewing Battlehawks training camp with Pat, who's covering that for News Hub, and then Andy and I will talk through all this other craziness. This is really good. Vipers, Renegades, love it. Love it.
Keep going.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
Got the beer can, Seattle Dragons, Renegades. That's I don't know what stadium that is.
That's like a little local baseball field.
This is cool. Start crossing, don't finish. That's awesome.
I think that baseball field might be there's like a little mini baseball field next to the old Ranger Stadium a little bit, so it might be over there. I'm not sure though. You said nothing?
Nothing yet. We got Wade Phillips on there. He's happy.
Yeah, he's having a good time.
Wade is living his best life all the time. What is his son of bum? What is his Twitter?
His dad's nickname is Bum.
Okay. I'm like son of bum. Okay. And then we did DC. We've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We did all of them, right?
Orlando.
Oh, we did, yeah. Is it not the Guardians?
Click. Yeah, they're not. They don't got a check mark yet, so it's a little wonky. Yeah, we got nothing.
Okay, so yeah, we're working on it. But yeah, let's give our girl. Well, there. We'll just hold it up for a minute here. Give our girl here. Questions in chat. I think they're going to go hard on promotion from here on out. They know they're a bit behind.
Hopefully, I want you to be right. I'm not. I do not have a crystal ball, but I want you to be right.
Yeah, Jared wants billboards in XFL cities now.
I'm with you, but no crystal ball.
I don't know if billboards do. I remember how in the world that we were in, remember when the USFL put the billboard like next to the whatever the heck the parking garage, and we were like going crazy and like where is it on the Google Maps and trying to find all that stuff.
I think the billboards matter more if you have one that's really if that's like one that really catches your eye. But if it's a basic billboard, then it's forgettable and no one will remember it. So if you're going to do a billboard, you better be committed to it.
Yeah, Texas Pete, we had XFL billboards here in Houston in 2020. Wayne checking in. Congrats to the XFL with the schedule. It seems so much more substantive. Fans can finally buy tickets.
Not yet. We can't buy tickets yet. But just a reminder if you're hopping on here. So season tickets, that's still available. Single game tickets, January 12th, that will be available for everybody but Vegas. Did it say in the press release that season tickets were available for the Cashman, by the way?
No, it said to be announced at a later date. So next Thursday, you're going to be on
Singles game
that.
and season tickets are not available for Cashman yet.
Oh, it didn't say that. You've always been able to buy season tickets for Vegas. You just didn't know where you
No, you
were.
can only do the deposit.
That's right.
So I'm going to see if you can actually buy tickets now, like season tickets for Vegas.
Yeah,
I would not expect it to be ready yet, but maybe it is. It's
that
still
would be
deposit. Takes you to
yeah.
deposit page.
Okay. Yeah, Jersey. Yeah, but we're trying to figure out for season tickets. Yeah, that would. Yeah, you can be in line for that. That's going to be quick on there. Moses here. Let's go Dragons. Can't wait to go to Las Vegas to see a game. Oh, here we go. I have no idea how good billboards work. Okay, that's fine. I've worked in TV for 10 years, but I don't know anything about advertising. That's fine. Yeah, Wayne, what do you want to talk about the championship game? That's going to be we mentioned that off the top. No location set on here. Going to be on ABC. I'll be wherever that is. So
I remember, for the record, just want to put this out there. I remember the Houston championship game for XFL 2020 wasn't actually announced until training camps got started. So theoretically, we could announce the championship game location anytime over the course of training camp would be fine. So we'll see.
I had everything, but like I had tickets for that booked. I had flights for that booked. I had the Airbnb. Kygo, my wife's favorite DJ in the world, was playing like the Friday before the championship game in Houston. I'm like, oh my God, this is perfect. Like we got her tickets to go see Kygo. I'm like, we can go see Kygo. We can go see the XFL because we were just fans at that point, right? I wasn't doing any of this stuff. And then my world ripped away from me. I mean, obviously so many other people, had much more horrible things happen, but weird to think that it would be coming full circle here and we'll have an XFL championship game coming up.
And I would expect that championship game to be in Arlington because, as Moses says, because, they got to have it with their hub. I'll say from 2020, I had tickets to one game, which was the Thursday night Dallas Renegades game. I think it was against, I actually don't remember who it was against, but it was a Thursday night Dallas Renegades game on the Thursday before Good Friday. So that I could not have to go to school the next day because I was still in high school at the time.
Championship game does not have a name yet. What do we think the XFL championship game will be called?
That's a tough one. What about the Opportunity Bowl?
The Opportunity Bowl, Player 54 Bowl. I can't call it the People's Championship. Fan Control Football already took that.
The Fans Championship.
Yeah, the Fans Championship. I mean, I think you. Okay, well, yeah. Put your comments in here. Yeah, the McMahon Bowl. Jared wants the McMahon Bowl. The Rock Bowl.
The Cardinale Bowl.
The Cardinale Bowl. You call it Cashman Field Bowl.
The DJ Bowl. Guy calls it DJ Bowl, right? Because
the DJ Bowl. The DJ Bowl. Black Adam 2 to coming soon Bowl. The X Bowl.
The Terramana Bowl. It's got to be the Terramana Bowl.
Terramana Bowl.
Or the Zoa Bowl, but either one.
Yeah, that was wild in that article I read that The Rock wanted a Terramana bar at his Black Adam PG-13 premiere. I thought that was astounding on that. People's game can't do. Fan Control Football has the People's Championship. Blame them for taking that name. I don't really know why.
I think they want to have a sponsor on it anyway, so they can call it. I bet it's Terramana or Zoa Bowl. Just knowing them, they want to show off the brands.
I bet it's the Zoa Championship game. Zoa
Energy. Zoa or Terramana, take your pick. Zoa might need a little more help than Terramana, so probably Zoa.
Yeah, is Zoa sales? Are they tanking?
No, they're not tanking. They're just not Terramana. They're doing good.
Yeah.
But Terramana is like going international, and like they're about to start their Mass Jägermeister deal, and they're going to go everywhere. Whereas Zoa like just opened up in Canada a few months ago.
Gotcha. Yeah, when we were up there, I think we were up there in downtown Vancouver. I think I got the Zoa there before the BC Lions game. Yeah. Expo works. Any other comments? Zoa's doing good. All right, that's good. Yeah, I don't know. Championship game. Do we like the playoffs? ESPN2. We don't get broadcast for that.
I mean, I wasn't expecting a network game for the playoffs, mostly until the championship game. Mostly because I figured they want to have a showcase to end the season on network and then have that build up from cable to network to end the season. So it's fine. It's not my favorite thing, but I understand why they did it. My one minor beef is I wish both games were on ESPN instead of one on ESPN2, but it's fine.
Texas Pete, we finished the season bowl. I like that.
mission accomplished bowl, like
Yeah,
get the George Bush on the aircraft carrier.
yeah. It's your People's Championship Bowl. Yeah, Jared, he's gonna sign for ESPN Plus. Cindy, USFL release schedule yet? Thank you for not asking me to respond as quickly as possible. I appreciate that. I don't know USFL. I would imagine February, right? Ish.
I mean, last time they released it in March, so we'll see. I have no idea. Also, they had ZipRecruiter at the draft, so what if it's the ZipRecruiter Bowl?
Super Bowl, that's fine. Or the what's Steve Guerra? What's his company?
No, that's too small. That's too small. The Breakaway Bowl, come on.
The Breakaway Day of the Bowl. Yeah, actually, we did touch on the North-South Division at the top. Yeah, it's basically everyone versus Texas, and then because Orlando's, we've decided it's going to be irrelevant, so it's kind of like Texas versus the world, right?
I believe it was it was Texas and Florida versus the world because it was South Division, right? So
yeah, Mike has a good comment here. USFL will release their schedule on February 18th. Surprising that we don't have, are we getting USFL news here? Are we are we getting the Detroit hub announced today? Are we trying to poo-poo on the XFL schedule?
The Eastern Michigan hub, because if they put it in Detroit, they're just going to be subjecting their players to extra taxes for no reason and paying more for a stadium that will not even be close to full. Yeah, who knows? Oh yeah, we need to name the championship trophy like oh gosh.
The USFL one is just the USFL championship trophy, right?
You know how Danny is. It's going to be the Garcia trophy. It's got to be the Danny Garcia trophy.
She wants her signature on there. Chairwoman, the co-owner and chairwoman.
I'm fine with that. If you want to be prideful about owning a league, that's fine. It was whatever.
Yeah, Actions Comics. Yeah, we touched on the divisions that way. Like we said, only really sustainable because it's the hub. If that was normal travel every week, it would be very bad.
Yeah, like this is perfectly fine for the next 3 years while they're in Arlington. Once they leave Arlington permanently and head out into markets, this is not a tenable situation because you can't have Seattle traveling cross country to DC or Vegas to DC. That's not acceptable.
Yeah. I don't worry so much about the 3-year leases and everything. I live in the now. Again, this is if COVID taught us nothing else, let's get through this. Let's see. I don't need this week 2 Thursday game. I'm freaking out about we'll cross that bridge when we get back. COVID has really taught me to kind of go. Max has a comment.
Yeah. So speaking of things are not promised, you will get into this with Andy later, but there is a non-zero possibility due to circumstances with the NFL that there may be delays that are out of the XFL's control.
Well, no, we can talk through that right now. We can talk to, Andy now touched on that. We have a lot of people joining right now. Obviously, thoughts and prayers with Damar Hamlin and his family, and I watched that live on Monday, and traumatic. I could not imagine being any of his family, friends, or teammates. It was scary enough to watch that live on TV and what the hell. I look up from my phone what the hell is going on here? But obviously, thoughts and prayers with that. NFL still has not decided how they're handling that. I don't imagine they push back the Super Bowl, right?
It's not worth me. I can't say what will happen. I hate talking about it this way, even though we have to. I wish I could just be I hope Damar Hamlin lives and has a happy life, and if he wants to keep playing football, that he gets the chance to keep playing football, and he has all his medical bills taken care of. But we have to talk about it like this if we're going to be covering all the angles. I think if there was a delay, the most likely scenario would be that they shift the playoffs back a week with keeping the Super Bowl the same date so that they could have the championship weekend for the conferences over Pro Bowl weekend. I think if there's a delay, that's the most likely scenario. I will say this. If the Bills lose or tie and the Chiefs win on Sunday, I believe that was the scenario that I talked about with someone. I believe that the 1-seat scenario becomes a wash and the Chiefs get it. And if that happens, that game loses, I believe, most of the consequence of needing to be played. So they could just say it's a tie and move on. I think that's what the NFL is going to try to do because the NFL wants to take the easy way out. The only problem is the Bills are playing, I believe, the Patriots. Which they should blow out comfortably, but then again, they are not necessarily in the best state of mind right now, so I can't say.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. I don't think this affects the XFL schedule. I just, obviously we got to talk about it. I have a feeling we just combine and get rid of the bye week, if anything. I'm not the biggest fan of the bye week between. I understand that when I worked at Fox when the Seahawks made it to the Super Bowl, and so I understand like we need to have the media week and the availability and do all that stuff, and it helps to have that extra time. I was never a fan of that just because I can't spend 2 weeks talking about one game. It gets challenging that way.
If college can have that same hype build up within the space of a week, then the NFL can do it if they have to.
Yeah, Wayne here. I never thought I'd see a Vegas in the Northern Division. Oh,
they're more north than the rest of the league that's in Texas and Florida, so it is what it is.
Like I said, it's Texas versus the world here. It really
Texas
is.
And Florida. Texas and
Well,
Florida.
I know, but like we said, we talked. Orlando is not going to be. It's not going to be a contender here.
I'm trying to limit the damage here, Reed. I already went in on them so much.
Yeah. Any other comments here? We still have good viewership. I'm happy to sit here for a few more minutes and then we'll get out of here. Like I said, Andy will be joining me later today. Andy Murray with News Hub. We'll do a full deep dive with all this stuff, talk Cashman, everything for our normal Friday episode. Pat Ruffino is going to be coming on doing St. Louis breakdown as well. It's just been a weird week with the DeMar stuff and XFL starting training camps and this coming out. And I've kind of like had this penciled and what day is it happening? Trying to get like a proper show this week. I think we'll do okay. I will say if you want the CFL coverage that we normally do, next week is going to be the week for that. Very, very excited if you know what's happening in the CFL Mediascape next week. And I think I have the guys up there helping me out tremendously, lining up some stuff with that. So it could be like a crazy show next week. Could be multi-hour show depending on what we have going on. But Wayne wants to know, Mac the Knife. That's not nice. What casino parking lot is Vegas playing in? They're playing the Cashman Field. Let's show a little respect here. Wayne wants to know preseason. They're doing a couple of ESPN, right? Like testing. Walk me through preseason.
So in terms of actual, there's not like a televised or streamed preseason game. Doug Whaley said on one of the Inside the League calls that you can find on their YouTube channel, they mentioned there'd be like a jamboree where there'd be a bunch of halves played between the teams. It's not a rumor. It's not a rumor if the league says it, Texas Pete. It's real. It's going to happen. They need to test a bunch of technology and they need to test broadcast stuff. It's not a rumor. So they're going to be testing technology in the broadcast. I'm sure they're going to be testing coach to player again, even though they've already done all that before, just to make sure everything's still right. They're going to be testing, I'm sure, just to make sure the rules look the way they should, even though they should be fine, stuff like that. Also, there's some replay technology that Dean Blandino talked about that I don't think he was supposed to say about Bolt 6. And Bolt 6 was also used for the USFL first down tech and whatnot, because the chip in the ball actually was not involved in determining whether it was a first down or not. And they used the laser down to determine where the first down line was. So they could reproduce that in the XFL pretty easily, but they need to test that, obviously, and make sure it also works with ESPN and whatnot, because the broadcaster has to produce the graphics. So we'll see.
Yeah, I think that'll be good. Seattle DC being in the same division is funny. Cross-country road trips. Wayne. Here we go. Wayne is getting CFL. Which, Wayne, I promise next week and the week after. Victor Quee is joining us. Victor was supposed to be on this week, traveling president and CEO of the Edmonton Elks. Victor will be on. I got to record with him on Martin Luther King Day, and then we'll be doing that. So that will be exciting. Yeah, lots of CFL stuff next week. Yeah, curious. Yeah, if they end up going, they are going Bolt 6 with the replay technology, because that's what Dean said on the interview we had with him last week. You're saying they could implement a lot of the things that the USFL did in terms of the first down markers and all that stuff, right?
In terms of determining whether something is a first down, that Bolt 6 can do that with their cameras, and that's what they did in the USFL. There's an article about that from, I believe it's Sport Techie. So you can read all about that. It's a division of Sports Business Journal now, so make sure you know how to get around a paywall. Also, they'll have to figure out how to do the first down line, however they decide to do that. But they can make it work. They don't need to chip in the ball to do the first down tech. That is absolutely false. So they could easily reproduce that if they wanted to, and they should, because it'll make the games go faster.
Yeah, I when we had Sam on before and he was, how they just spotted the ball at the yard marker every time. I like that. I like
Yeah,
Sam's my
that's a
elegant
simple
solution.
solution, but if you want to look cool on TV, this solution is quite functional too. And also, you already have that replay system in there anyway, so you might as well just use it more if you can find a way to make that happen. So it's fine. Also, I was going to say, on a less technological, less serious note, what do we think that trophy is going to be for the 3 Texas teams? Because they talked about it at that town hall where they were like, we're going to have like a cigar or something for the 3 Texas teams.
You mean a standalone Texas trophy aside from the championship trophy?
Not provided by the league, presumably provided by the coaches between each other, because I think it's just between them. Although it would be funny if the league gave out a Texas trophy, and I remember people way overreacted to that comment. People were like, "Oh, there's going to be a Texas division, and then it's the other." I mean, it's basically a Texas division, but it's still even. There's not 3 teams and then 5. That would have been very strange. So it would have been like the CFL.
Well, no, yeah, at least we have balanced divisions. Yes, the CFL, we have 5 and 4 in the CFL. Yeah, they could have done that. They could have done 5 and 3. So at least it's not that way. Like I said, I don't think they needed divisions. It really, I don't know. I don't.
They could have gone around divisions and done like a rotating schedule deal, but I guess they wanted to be as simple as possible. But you can't, yeah, yeah, or a Texas state like the UIL trophies. Is that what you're talking about, or like just a big Texas thing? Yeah, I know. I got my big map of Texas on the wall over here.
I like having that, the bragging rights. Like, so I think a lot of teams do it, but the Kraken do like the Davy Jones hat. It's like the old pirate. It's got like seaweed on it. And they give that away in between the teams. Like if they win a game, like it'll be, their goalie will give it to whoever scored the most goals or whatever on, against the other team. And I like that. I like having the bragging rights to pass along. Jenna wants Victory Bell and or a barbecue like Turkey Day the NFL has. Yeah, you could eat like that. I like that. You could do eat like the chicken leg, like Josh Allen does on Thanksgiving. Except
I think for Texas, it makes more sense to do like ribs or brisket or something.
Yeah. I like that. I like
that
Texas barbecue that way.
For Seattle, it wasn't a trophy, but they had like the light the torch deal for Seattle from 2020. Maybe they turned that into a trophy. I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't love that. I remember who did we have out? We had some legend out for the first game.
Steve Largent for the first game, then you had Brock Heward.
Yeah, I was pretty intoxicated for those games. CFL, the Banjo Bowl trophy for the in-season. Yeah, I mean, let's get through it. It is tough this year because we don't have just the battle of we don't just have the 2 teams. We have the 3 Texas teams now. So
they could do it like how Army, Navy, and Air Force do it, where they have the Commanders in Chief trophy, and whoever has the best cumulative record against each other between the 3 of them gets the trophy. That's a thing. So there's a model.
Hey, you're going to be happy here. We have Battlehawks have posted their stuff. So if you're hopping on now, they had all the social media people, like our girl Haley over in Seattle, posting all the, the home games, cool little, little tidbits around the city. I love this with like the ferry and stuff. I mean, that's literally 10 minutes from where I live. Very exciting. Battlehawks had not posted theirs, finally did. I have not been to St. Louis, but I guess if you're a St. Louis fan here, we've got the Cornbread Restaurant, Grace, meat plus 3. Oh, that makes sense. Like you get a meat and then 3 sides, right?
Yeah, something like that probably.
We got the light rail or the whatever, the subway here, the Battlehawks. I like that. The pinball arcade.
Yeah, I wish the lighting was a little better, but it's fine.
It's a little dark. Yeah, that's cool. I mean,
a little hard to read.
Yeah, that looks to be outside of the arch.
That's nice. Oh yeah, but I was on the fire truck. I'm maybe just a bit of a kid, but
And fine. Then I don't know. The Guardians we still didn't have yet. We're still working. Are you saying the Guardians don't have the social? Is that who doesn't have the social yet?
Well, I have no idea. I'm just going off. Well, I think Orlando has a social team, or at least they have someone with phones posting. But it's usually posting on Instagram because they were there at the Cheez-It Bowl. They had Terrell Buckley going hyping up all the Florida State fans at the Cheez-It Bowl. So they have someone posting stuff. I just don't know if it's a dedicated social media person or someone on their staff that's just like posting stuff when they're out doing things. Yeah. I don't know. I'd imagine they'll have a graphic put out within an hour.
Yeah. Well, I think we're good here. Hour and a half. If anyone else has any other questions, I don't want to make this, replayability and be able to kind of watch this throughout the day. Like I said, we'll be back tomorrow. Andy Murray is going to be hopping on today, record, break, deep dive with all this kind of stuff. Pat talking about the Battlehawks preseason. And I have some other training camp previews coming up next week as well. Just if I'm looking ahead here, Matt Lyons is going to be joining me next week. We're going to be doing a Sea Dragons camp preview. Sam Just is going to be joining as well. I think he's taken over the Vipers, do that preview. So trying to get some of these training camp previews, team roster kind of breakdowns headed into the season. Like I said, lots of CFL media stuff next week as well. And then the week after with Victor Cui. Anthony Miller is going to be joining me on January the 20th episode. We're going to be doing the Renegades breakdown. Am I doing okay, Max? We're kind of doing these team breakdowns here. That makes sense?
So, but now when you do these team breakdowns, you get to actually break down who they're playing. You can pick up some games that you might find that are interesting, whereas before that we weren't guaranteed that was on the horizon. So that's nice. Also, I can't wait to hear you talk to some other people who I know you're trying to talk to about some various things going on with the league and various different innovations we can look forward to. I'm very excited about that. And also, maybe some other past guests once the season starts to talk about the actual football really in depth with some real smart people that you've had on, and I'm really looking forward to that. And also I want to say for like 15 seconds here, no matter what you think of this schedule, whether it has the wrong TV channels or the game dates aren't always the right day, or you wish they were playing this team on another day, or your team is not playing at home until week 4 or whatever. Listen, we have a professional football league. It's real. It has fans for the carryover from the last time. This is the XFL, and we are here. And you know what? Despite all of that, I'm just glad we're back. Everything else will play out over time. But today, let's be happy and let's be angry every day after today. Okay? Let's be happy today.
It's going to be good. Yeah, Max is taking on a little bit more, at least here during Christmas break. I don't know how long this will maintain. Happy to have it as long as it does. A little bit more producing role, helping behind the scenes here. Appreciate that. I mean, this is the labor of love, one-man band here, so it's nice to be able to bounce some ideas off of, like, hey, do you think that this person's good to talk to? Really appreciate it. Everyone coming on. Like I said, like and subscribe. Jared says, XFL rules, so glad we have it back. Mike, exactly. Glad the XFL is back in any form. Let's go. Actually, will you be hosting the XFL personnel on the Markcast discussing the season? Yeah, we just had Dean Blantino, VP of Officiating Rules, on last week. Have a couple. This week is tough. Like I said, I know the DeMar Hamlin thing. I didn't, I was really trying to be cautious, just kind of emailing anyone in the industry right now, trying to be sensitive to that. XFL loading everyone into training camp this week was also really busy that way. I will maintain, same with the USFL. I think the leagues need to be doing better of we can have people in training camp and then also facilitate stuff, because USFL basically, once they went into training camps, they're like, we have nobody that can help you at any kind. And I'm like, well, this is kind of when people want to talk about your league, is when you're in training camp. So I hope that as I go on my little diatribe here, I just got an email. I ordered a XFL Sea Dragons beanie. Looks like it just got shipped. So that's very exciting. Have my XFL Sea Dragons beanie come in. Badgerin. Yes, we will have a show tomorrow morning. As always, bonus content today. Andy, Pat, everybody else, breaking down all of this in probably a more cohesive manner. Max, anything else? I mean, we still have good viewership here. I just don't want to keep people on forever.
Yeah. Don't forget that Dean said he wanted to be back on to open the season. So you better make sure he gets on soon, because I'm sure once everything becomes more revealed, he wants to talk about it again. I'm sure he loves talking about the rules and the ins and outs of this, and I'll make sure to help you with that. Also, we got, I remember you were talking about earlier this week. I was so stressed out. I was like, it's not happening, y'all. This is all fake. This is all nonsense. There's been such a cynicism that even permeated me of this league is just gonna fail because it's taking too long and we had everything go wrong. Well, you know what? They've shut us all up, at least for now. It's here. And sometimes it's still a little bit of disbelief, I don't know.
I get a lot of feedback even today, read Mr. Negative and all that stuff. My biggest thing, and this goes for the USFL and the XFL, CFL, like nothing is ever improved by sitting around and saying like, this is fine. I own my own business, constantly trying to like, okay, what do I got to market this way? What do I got to do? What did I do bad? You get a bad review. Okay, should have done that better. So that's always my goal with this stuff, is trying to figure out the best way for these to be sustainable. Also, like, spoiler alert, complaining, it carries a little bit better on a podcast. I'm like, this is all great. There are plenty of shows that do that as well. If you want to do
not
that,
all great. Like I'm not I'm not actually convinced that everything is going to be great and whatever. And like I said, tomorrow I'll be right back there with you. Like, oh my God, this sucks. This is terrible. Why aren't they getting the jerseys out on time? Why aren't they doing this? Why aren't they doing that? But today I've been in that exact same frame of mind for over almost 3 years. Today is the day to just be like, we're here. Tomorrow we'll get right back on them. Believe me, I have so many problems with the way this league is being run right now. I even laid out one of them with the Vegas issue today. There are so many problems, and there are so many problems with every single league being run in spring football right now, and we can get on them about it. But sometimes you just have to appreciate it for just a moment. Just take a minute, and then get back on it.
No, I like to, I don't know. I go back and forth. I see a lot of people, and I know the people that work for the leagues, and even we were talking last night about some of the social media people, like, okay, we're frustrated and people, whatever. I'm like, we've been on this 3 years. Like you've been here a month, 2 months, 3 months. Like, I mean, this has been a labor of love for a lot of people. So really appreciate that. I think we're good. I think we'll wrap it here. Like I said, like and subscribe. Episode coming out tomorrow. Really appreciate Max working this week, trying to figure out what day are we doing it and all, sources. And I was out last night, and I come home and everyone has sources that have confirmed a lot of different stuff. I don't confirm anything until it happened. It happened today. We were here, 30 seconds after the news dropped. Really appreciate Max for doing that. Texas Pete, I don't think there is a perfectly run sports league, but I think if you make enough money like the NFL, you can probably get away with a lot more stuff.
Yeah, there's professionally run sports leagues, and then there's the XFL and the USFL. Both leagues, both of them. Believe me, I said both, and both of them are not being run professionally right now, and that has nothing to do with the employees doing the everyday work. That's to do with the folks up top.
Yeah.
So get on them, and sure, talk to the social media people, but remember, have some grace with these folks. These people are working overtime, and they are understaffed, just trying to help out, do with their jobs. And remember, it's the Jerrys, it's the Dannys. It's not really Dwayne, but you can say it's Dwayne if it makes you feel better. Running the league, and those people are really who's responsible for all this mess.
Yeah, I don't get the, okay, we complained about last year USFL didn't have social media, and then this year the XFL has social media, and like we're harassing them. I don't get that aspect of it. Like I don't get like this like literal like harassment of the social media people. Like I don't really understand how that works, but it is what it is. I guess everyone's got to do their own thing. So
yeah, and it is what it is. People are upset, they're impatient, whatever. You can't stop people from being like that. So I'm not gonna. I kept it pretty graceful. I may have said one thing that was a little mean, but otherwise, my main thing was keeping it funny, keeping it positive, having a good time, and hoping things came right, and we're good.
Yeah, third time's the charm here, Moses. I think we'll end on that note. Really appreciate it. We'll see you guys tomorrow. We'll be up 7 a.m. Pacific. Like and subscribe. Thank you. I will get this banner playing here. Max, stick around. We'll chat after this goes off the air. Thank you guys so much again, and we'll see you tomorrow. Thanks.
Prayers for Damar Hamlin.
Yeah, thoughts and prayers for Damar Hamlin. Thank you very much for doing that. And yes, well, thank you guys. We'll see you next time.